the AI bubble is real. I think we are all experiencing one right now. I get it. All of you are probably thinking, can't we just pop the freaking bubble? And the answer to that is, not really. It's not that simple. Remember, there is no single bubble in history. The AI bubble is something that we're seeing right now. But there are other bubbles in history that we have seen before. The three most recent are the arcade bubble, the dot-com bubble, and the housing bubble. The arcade bubble lasted from 1978 all the way to its crash in 1983. It was pretty severe. Eventually, it resurged because of a company named Nintendo. Thank you, Nintendo, for bringing us Mario. Woohoo! The second bubble is the dot-com bubble, which lasted from 1996 all the way to its crash in 2000. However, it resurged because of Amazon and Google. Woohoo! And then the third bubble, which is probably the most severe of them all, the housing bubble, which lasted from 1998 all the way to its initial crash in 2007, but not everybody saw the real effects of it until 2008. That bubble was the most severe, because housing was much more important than investing in some website or playing in an arcade machine. Way more important. Way more important. Because of that, it was pretty severe for basically everybody. However, in all three of those bubble scenarios, only the rich and wealthy got away with it. They got away with it. The poor and the middle class suffered it the most. Will we see that from the AI bubble? Only time can tell for that. You might be thinking, how bad is the AI bubble actually? Well, let's take a look up here at this diagram. As you can see, we have Oracle, NVIDIA, OpenAI, and then we have this AI company called CoreWeave. I had to research CoreWeave. It's actually an AI-based company out of Livingston, New Jersey. Thankfully, it's only a 30-minute drive from my house, so I can just visit there and be like, why are you stealing consumers' money? Real badly. Alright, I'm getting sidetracked right now. These four are probably the ones that are leading the AI revolution. Yes, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Tesla are also involved, but they're involved in at a lesser extent. So just from looking from this diagram, NVIDIA is the biggest of them all. They're worth about $4.5 trillion, and I expect them to get up to $6 trillion by the end of this year. So stupid. Just to mention Jensen being in a black jacket, and then there was a stack of them at my door. But we know why you bought those jackets. We know why you bought those jackets. So you can show off your wealth. You went from being the pioneer of GPUs to now investing into AI. I have no idea how you eventually made that transformation. You worked at a Waffle House to now leading almost a $5 trillion company. It's pretty sad how things are going. But it's not going to stop right now. You can see the arrows. OpenAI is probably the company that's initiating these arrows, as you can see. They invested about $300 billion in computing power to Oracle, which is basically the same company that bought TikTok just a couple of days ago. And people are not happy with that. Why? Many people believe that TikTok is now stealing data under Oracle more than ByteDance. I can't confirm that because I've not seen any data come out from mine, but I think it's just generally because I've been posting on TikTok for a while. But OpenAI, and most importantly Sam Altman, are some of the worst people that I have got to see in my lifetime. The only thing that they created that was entirely good was just ChatGPT. That's it. ChatGPT was the only thing that they made good. When they started investing into corporations, I hate this shit. And now Sam Altman has stated that they want to add ads because they've been losing a lot of money. I say to myself, are you okay? Are you okay? But I kind of get it because OpenAI is going to lose like $14 billion this year. And they might go into bankruptcy as early as the second quarter of next year. But do I think they're going to head into bankruptcy next year? Most likely not. Probably not. But, the only thing I do want to see from the AI bubble to stop is the video generation. Stop video generation. Photo generation I can get. I can do photo generation. But we gotta stop doing video generation. Gemini's gotta stop, Grok's gotta stop, Perplexity's gotta stop, ChatGPT's gotta stop. We need all of these AI chatbots to just stop mass producing video content that is made entirely of AI. It's hurting us content creators, it's hurting us viewers, it's basically hurting everybody at the bottom level, basically at the bottom level of the structure. But it's only benefiting the shareholders and the rich. What do you say? Another graph that I want to show you all is probably the one that's going to impact people the most. The price of DDR5 RAM. That sweet mother-loving RAM that you need for your computer. And guess what? All of these AI companies need that shit for energy. They need it for energy so badly. Which is causing consumers to not have RAM. We saw this as early as probably late 2024, but it started impacting consumers as I think as early as October or November of 2025, if I'm correct. But it basically affected everyone that doesn't use AI a lot. That includes me. The only time I use AI is when I'm just making some historical context bullshit, or if I needed to further talk to me about some solving some math shit. But that doesn't mean that AI should be used for video generation or for corporate bullshit. That RAM should be separate. We should have two sets of RAM, I think. One that is meant for enterprise use, and one that is mainly used for consumer use. Consumer use, go up to about 128 gigabytes of RAM. Enterprise use, go up to 2 terabytes. And let those corporations pay for that enterprise use. Consumers can also buy enterprise RAM, which I'm going to call ERAM, but they cannot buy more than 2 sets. Meaning that if they bought a set of 2 terabytes, 1 terabyte per stick, they can't buy more than 2 sets of them, which would mean they can't buy more than 4 terabytes of RAM. They can't buy more than 4 terabytes of RAM, in my opinion. So there should be both CRAM, consumer-led RAM, and ERAM, enterprise-led RAM, in my belief. Are we gonna see that? Hell no! Because these corporations probably don't want enterprise RAM. They probably want consumer RAM. And all to these mother-loving corporations, listen to me. If you only buy ERAM for your data centers, this whole world is going to be better. It's going to be better off. Because you're hogging all of the best RAM available, probably the ones that consumers do not need, but consumers can also get a share of the pie by having CRAM, basically consumer-led RAM, where they can just use it for gaming or for light AI tasks. The graph also summarized this up best. As you can see way down here, the price for RAM back in, I would say, May of 2025 was right around 110 bucks? I think 110. Guess what happened after that? Guess what happened? Guess what happened? It ballooned up. We went from $110 just 8 months ago, almost 9, to now $420 for simple DDR5 sticks. We almost quadrupled the price for nothing in return. We quadrupled the price for nothing in return. Oh my god. What's making me sick right now is that these corporations that are hogging up all of the RAM, more importantly OpenAI, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, etc., are hogging up the RAM, but they're not telling the consumers, hey, we have all of your RAM. If we have unused RAM, we're gonna sell it to you guys. Because they're not gonna freaking sell it! They're not gonna sell it. They're just gonna keep it in a dumpster forever because they call it e-waste. However, consumers can buy DDR4 RAM, which is actually older than DDR5, but it's still recent enough to be present in today's modern computing. For example, I would say having 16 gigs of DDR5 with an Intel Core i5-12400F would probably be the best combo, in my opinion. But you can't go wrong with an AMD Ryzen 5 5600X with 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM. You can't. You can't. It's just simple. This is one of the examples I've told you earlier in the video, which is the video game bubble, otherwise known as the arcade bubble. As you can see in this graph, it shows that the bubble lasted from 1978, which had the majority share of arcade sales, which was about 10 billion back then, all the way up to its hiatus in 1982, where the arcade industry was worth over $26 billion. That's insane. You also had consoles and computers. Computers weren't well known back then, and they also weren't sold at that time because they were hella expensive back then. You got me thinking, where's the handheld industry? Well, that's after, you have to wait until '89 where we get the Game Boy. The Game Boy, that's gonna wait later. But look at the graph again from 83 to about 85. It just sharp downwards because investors knew that the bubble was happening. They knew it was gonna happen. But also, investors never received any profit. They only received the revenue, but the expenses that they incurred basically were worth more than the revenue. Because of that, they suffered a net loss, and they decided to invest out, which led to the valuation of the video game industry to basically crumble down from its height of over $26 billion to just a little under $9 billion. That is a decline of almost 300%. Is it almost 300%? No, almost 200%. You don't see declines like that. You don't. You just don't. I just kind of find it hilarious that a decline like that has even happened in the first place. But when a decline happens, you can't really blame it. Another good example of a bubble bursting is the housing bubble that lasted between 1998 through about 2007, when we saw the first initial signs of the bubble popping, but it really didn't affect a lot of people until 2008. Now, this bubble pop was more significant than the other two I mentioned, because this targeted a lot more people. Essentially, houses are more significant as an asset rather than arcade games and .com sites. That's how it is. And this was pretty severe for everybody. It was. As you can see, it's listed right around 2006, 2007, 2008, right here. it's not really that significant because it really didn't affect the stock market all that much. It just affected the ordinary American population. But before I can get to the crypto bubble, which has existed, I want to go back to between 1996 through about 2000 and talk about the dot-com bubble, where you basically had to create a website. The website was entirely online, and it would receive tons of investments, and I mean tons of investments. And essentially, as you see from this right here, from 98 through about 99, and then you can see the peak right around 2000. You can see it right around 2000. And this was pretty significant, mainly to corporations. A lot of them lost their money. A lot of shareholders lost their money. A lot of these .com websites eventually went out of business. However, there are 3 major .com websites, maybe even 4, that has survived. Amazon, Apple, Google, and Netflix. Those 4 survived. Microsoft's not counted because they've existed before. They've existed since the 70s, maybe in the 80s, so they don't count. And the final bubble that I will talk about prior to the AI bubble is probably the crypto bubble. Now, the crypto bubble is not one big continuous bubble. It's actually smaller bubbles. As you can see towards the end of this timeline, right around 2015, 2016, we see the capital investment dip down because a lot of people were worried that cryptocurrency was very, very unstable. It was very unstable back then. Also, there wasn't a realization on how pump and dump schemes worked back then. So you might be thinking, what is a pump and dump scheme? A pump and dump scheme is a scheme where one famous person or one rich person would encourage others to buy a certain cryptocurrency. And then once that person once they sold their share, others would sell it, causing the value of that crypto to decline. And eventually this was a big problem. It was a big problem for everybody involved. But it didn't really target a lot of people. But also, a lot of these corporations know that cryptocurrency varies. So that's why the bubble is often a lot smaller. It's often a lot smaller and it's not as impactful. There's only 3 years you gotta keep an eye on. 2013, the initial pop. 2017, the meme pop. And then 2021, the NFT pop. You might be thinking, NFT pop. Get in there a little, very quick. The only analogy I can bring up is when Justin Bieber bought that one NFT back then for like 1.3 million and then sold it for like 5,900 or like 59,000 or something. It was really funny when Justin Bieber sold that for less than more than 5% of its value. But yeah. Please do not invest in the NFTs, and please don't invest in your cryptocurrency. They're just too unstable. Now, before I summarize what I've stated, I want to talk about the bots. The bots, real quick. So if you haven't been on social media, or if you're older than my generation at least, if you're on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, maybe even Meta and X, you might have seen these sexual bots that exist in the platforms. You might see that. A good example of a sexual bot being on a social media platform is their profile picture. 1, 2, their what is it? I forgot. 2, what they say. 3, where are they linked to? And 4, their account tag. So we have one that says Peaky -X9J. And it states, she is a mix of star beauty, star, and star, grace, star. Her elegance is unmatched. Pure vibes, smiley face, heart emoji, heart emoji. That is one example of how to find bot accounts really quick. Now, if I click on this particular bot account, I'm gonna get probably a lot of backlash from YouTube. So I'm not gonna click on it. There's gonna be a lot of sexual stuff going on with this bot account. But let's scroll down. Let's scroll down a little bit. Let's scroll down a little bit. You could see another one. You could see two more. One at the top from Kayla Morrison -R8E, and it states, you can watch this without thinking too much. You know that's AI generated because that is not supposed to be a script that is for comments. That shouldn't be for comments. But this is a dating bot, not a sexual bot, a dating bot. Initially. I said the word initially very clear, because if you click on their profile, which I can actually do because this one seems like it's a dating bot, it will take you to a website back here. It'll take you to a website, but I will not click on that website. Why? It's literally just porn. Literally just porn. It's just porn. Just porn. Real quick. So I'm not going to click on that because I'm underage and I'm not invested into that shit. You also have another one from one that has an account tag named Louie Harper. And it states, fun fact, shrimp. It says pistol shrimps snap their claws so fast they create bubbles as hot as the surface of the sun from microseconds. How does that relate to a video where you're basically saying, I would say, the physical versions of something that you see on the computer? You have a file cabinet and then you have files on your computer. You have a window on your computer and then you have a window just right here. And then the cloud is above us, but you have a cloud right here on your computer. However, there are at least 5 replies, so I'm going to click on the replies. Take a look at the replies. What does this have to do with the video? Nothing. It's probably a bot account or someone just giving random info. Exactly. Bot accounts are just ones that just basically spam something that doesn't really mean anything, or they're just giving random information that nobody gives a damn about. But hey, any information that is pretty good for usage is still pretty good. However, you cannot tie it into bot accounts that do adult content. But a lot of these accounts right here know, a lot of them know what a bot looks like, what they say, and what the links are. They know. Bot, okay, thanks for telling me. I think he's referring to the top comment, and then bot at the below. But what is this gonna tie into AI out of all things? The bot accounts I listed are tied into AI because most of these bot accounts are created. They're AI generated. They're AI generated by probably people in Africa and Asia, in my opinion. Because there's no way in hell Americans would create something that as goon, or as goon enticing as that. Prematurely. But also, why would someone create an account that could potentially not only harm them, but also harm others? I just still have no idea why these accounts are created in the first place, and why can't these social media apps basically delete them? They can't detect if the profile picture is AI generated. That is key right there. That is key. If the profile picture is AI generated and it has a person in it that is listed as AI generated, you better warn them. You better warn them for a violation of the content guidelines. 3 strikes, you're out. Another key thing, do not allow fishy websites. There should be filters in place to where you cannot allow certain accounts to head into fishy websites that are deemed bloatware, malware, and even ransomware. You can't. You can't. One more that I would like to list out is if they entice in something that is available to children more and more, why aren't there safeguards to stop all of this? Why aren't there safeguards? Sure, we had the AI age verification bullshit era that we're under in, and I kind of support AI age verification in some ways, not all. But I do think that AI age verification still needs a little bit of work. It needs to be perfected to a level where we can actually trust it. And I don't give a damn about these people that say, oh, they're stealing our privacy. They're stealing our privacy. They're stealing us millions. They're selling us millions of dollars for that. Look at it. I don't care. I don't care that my data is being stolen. I don't care. If my data is stolen, then my data is stolen. It's like if I drop a penny on a freaking sidewalk and someone steals it. Am I gonna get the penny back? No. They can just take the penny. Dollar? Take the dollar. 100? Nah, I'm snatching the 100 because that's more valuable than having my data stolen. But one more thing I want to talk about. Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of my channel being created. And in 1 year, we've created a lot of content. Not a lot, but still enough that kind of makes the average viewer be like, wow, you're encompassing us with great content. And I appreciate those who have continuously watched my videos, and I appreciate those who like my videos, who subscribe to my channel, and I hope that year 2 will go as well, and if not, better than year 1. Year 1 was a testing ground, but year 2 is basically me going on the road. So I will thank y'all for the appreciation that I've received throughout the first year of my YouTube channel, and I hope y'all subscribe to this channel so you can receive more content like this, and I will see you in the next video. Go!